We have long been told North Korea is a rogue state and its leaders are out of touch with reality. Recent events, however, shared a different picture from what we have been spoon-fed in the corporate media. Kim Jong-un, the leader of that country, appears to be quite skillful in keeping both the US and China off balance as he seeks to solidify his country's position in the Northeast Asia Great Game. If there is anything the North Koreans know about superpower relations, is power itself, for which they have made the country's defense capability the topmost priority. To this understanding, they have built an army of 1 million soldiers, backed by a civilian militia of about 2 million, according to the latest estimates. North Korea has built over the years an impressive missile defense program that has produced many sophisticated weapons, including the intercontinental ballistic missiles. On top of that country's powerful conventional forces, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or DPRK, is known to have conceived the ultimate weapon, the atomic bomb. We all know a nuclear weapon is not an offensive weapon. It is a strategic deterrence, and in the view of the North Korean leaders, acquiring an atomic bomb is their best life insurance policy. Now, confident of its security, the country feels it can negotiate on its own terms. Let's give a brief history of the Korean peninsula. Until 1945, Korea was occupied by Imperial Japan. When Japan was defeated in the aftermath of World War II, the Korean peninsula found itself split between Soviet forces stationed in what is now North Korea and US forces stationed in what is now South Korea. The country fell victim to superpower rivalry. Both the US and the USSR could not find a compromise on how independence for the Korean peninsula must be achieved. Kim Il-sung, the grandfather of the North Korean president now, Kim Jong-un, headed a political party called the Korean Workers' Party. It was a Marxist party whose military reigned fought ferociously against the Japanese occupation. For that, Kim Il-sung had gained fame and emerged as the country's most popular political leader in both North and South Korea. Arguably, he would have won in any free and fair election. Because of his Marxist credentials, the US opposed him. Frustrated, in 1950, Kim launched a military offensive on the South and nearly liberated the country, forcing the US forces to flee in droves. Fearing total defeat, the United States staged a successful amphibious assault, attacking the North Koreans from the rear. The US then went on to reconquer all the South and march into North Korea, killing millions in the process. The war ended when the USSR and China intervened and forced the US military to retreat below the 38th parallel, the dividing line that now separates the two Koreas. Let's take a look at today's reality. If the United States has remained a natural ally to South Korea, with its forces still stationed in South Korea, Russia and China continue to be North Korea's natural allies. Although Russia and China were then ideologically obligated to save North Korea, there is one element is worth to emphasize. North Korea provides a strategic buffer for both Russia and China, a buffer capable of keeping the US military away from their respective borders. Understandably, the geopolitical reasons that prompted the USSR and China to enter the fray to save North Korea in 1952 remains to this day unchanged. Henceforth, North Korea, whether they like its leaders or not, Russia and China are compelled to preserve the independence of their neighbor to the south, North Korea. The question is, will China or Russia fight a war again on behalf of North Korea today? Many experts believe the answer is no. And it is this calculus behind the DPRK's drive towards the nuclear bomb and the means to deliver it. This brings us to this current maneuvering to stage a nuclear summit between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump. The Trump administration has been making bellicose and irrational statements on North Korea's denuclearization, and sane hawkish like John Bolton and Mike Pence have made statements suggesting a Libyan model would be the best option for the DPRK. This has infuriated the North Koreans because they know too well what happened to Colonel Gaddafi as he was assassinated few years after he dismantled his nuclear program at the request of the Western powers. It is hard to imagine the North Korean leaders will destroy easily something they have spent almost 70 years to build. Kim Jong-un has already made some very important political gains. He has forced the United States to cancel last week's military drill with South Korea, something the North has always considered as hostile to its security. The US now recognizes the DPRK as a nuclear power. He has forced China to rush into the bandwagon, or China will be just a popular spectator in the great game. If Pence and Bolton's statement have angered the North Korean leadership, they have also exposed how Trump is so ill-informed about the very complicated US foreign diplomacy. Anyway, the future will tell.